Before we really get much further, would you go ahead and just introduce yourself, what school you're from, where you're from originally, and like what grade and what you're going into?
All right. Well, I'm Kat McNulty. I'm from Massachusetts, the town just north of Boston. It's called Haverhill. Um, I'm a junior in the Biomedical Engineering program. And yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So how did you end up at Indiana Tech?
Um, I I was looking around, I was panicking, like last minute looking at colleges because I went to a vocational, like one of those technical high schools.
Okay.
So I graduated as a licensed electrical apprentice, and I was working in the union back at home, and I was like, college isn't for me. And then like January of 2020, I was like, maybe electrical is actually not for me. Okay. And so I was like panic looking for like schools. Like I wanted women's wrestling, but I also really wanted to go with engineering, and I wasn't gonna like choose the wrestling over my education. Like, you go to be a student athlete. So, I need to have a purpose aside from wrestling there, and I needed to really like enjoy it. So, digging around, there were really like no schools out there at that point, like in 2020, that had engineering available. And if they did, it was like a very like surface level like degree or program. And it was Paul reached out to me over Instagram. He DM'd me through the tech um, profile and expressed interest. And I looked into the school and I was like, this is it. They have like so many different routes of engineering, and it's going to be a first year program. It's going to be pretty cool. So I kind of like, we started messaging back and forth, had like 2 or 3 phone calls, and I was like, all right, I'm locked in. I'm
That's
ready
all.
to go.
That's cool. Uh Now, when talk a little bit about just your wrestling journey, like when that started for you.
Um, I started wrestling a little bit in 8th grade, like when my brother, he's 2 years older than me, just 1 grade ahead of me. So when he was a freshman, he started wrestling, and being like a great sibling, I was just like, he'd come home from practice complaining, and I'd be like, it literally can't be that hard. You're just lazy. So I started doing it to like try to prove him wrong or something. Like, be like, oh yeah, you're just a wuss. And I mean, he was right. It was hard. It was something I'd never done before. I mean, prior to wrestling, I did like classical dancing for about 12 or 13 years. So I completely jumped ships, but I fell in love pretty fast. And I really got into it my freshman year of high school. Um, After my first season on the team, I started looking into like clubs and like barns around me. So I began attending like in the off season. There's a wrestling club, Smitty's Barn in New Hampshire. I started there for the off season, and then I began to visit Doughboy Wrestling Club, and that kind of became like a second home, Doughboy. And I really picked it up in the off season through the years, and started competing a lot more, traveling a lot more, just really like bought into it.
That's cool. When you were at Doughboy, were there quite a few other girls, or was it kind of just you?
When I first started going, I believe it was my sophomore year of high school. Like when I really started going there for the full like winter sessions, spring sessions, like the whole thing you sign up for. There were like a collection of us, like there were 4 of us. Um, and we were all just kind of in there like it was hard for all of us to become friends at first because we all had to like prove ourselves and show that we were really tough in the room full of men. Like this was a room that was jam packed. Like you were slipping within 30 minutes into it, like because it was drenched in sweat ever. There's so many people, so packed. Really competitive room. So we all felt the need to like make our mark, improve ourselves. But once we got closer, like we were able to build up with each other as well as bring more people in. So it started with just four of us, myself, Marisol Nugent, actually five of us, Jackie and Ashley Daney and Taylor Tildesley. We were like the high school group that was mostly there. And then it really expanded to the point that they went from like just having girls and boys practice together to like having a doe girl team as well.
That's awesome. That's cool to be a part of that. And even like to get to be the start of Indiana Tech, what has that been like for you to see like even be there for that first year and to see how many girls are in the room, how competitive you are? How cool has that been for you?
I love it every year. Like these girls just like amaze me. Like I love being on the side and like cheering them on. Like this past weekend, like at Cumberland's at the duels, we took first and like watching some of the freshmen, watching some of them just like I don't know, you'd see like just nothing going on and like this mode of psychosis and they'd be like animals. It was I love it. I love watching it. They always wow me. Everyone always wows me every year. Like there's so much stuff that we did in our first year, in our second year, and even already this season that like most of us within the first year never thought we'd see in our 4 years. Like it's amazing. Like everyone's bought into it. Everyone's trusted the process.
Now, what have you been able to experience even as yourself from the very get-go to even getting to find, the school that has the engineering program and then getting to dive into the wrestling aspect and come from a pretty hard first year, right? I mean, if we're honest, like that got beat up a little bit, right? And
Yeah, first year was definitely it was a rough one, but it was a good one. Like you can only go up from there,
yeah,
you know.
but
Gotta have bad ones to, where know that good ones are coming.
yeah, and honestly, I wanted to kind of touch bases with, or I wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. Like, how is a person, you've obviously you're super successful with the school thing, vocational thing. You were successful there. Massachusetts, you had a lot of success. How were you able to just keep coming, and showing up the next day and continue to improve? Like, what did you learn about yourself in those moments?
Um, I'd have to say the days that broke me were the ones that I was able to build the most off of, like those days where it's just like before you even start practice, you're just kind of like, oh my, I don't want to be here. I'm tired. I have so many assignments. I have so much to do. When you start thinking about like, oh my God, I got to cut this much. I have this hard match this weekend. Like before you even step in the room and have those like negative thoughts and then have that like rough practice, those are the days where like I built off of myself the most. I journal a lot. I have like a personal journal as well as a wrestling one where like I'll keep track of like, before practice, like how I felt physically and mentally after practice, how I felt, and like what I did with throughout the day to like either like keep track of like, okay, I don't want to do this again because that was a bad one, or okay, like let's repeat this one. Let's try to keep this ball rolling, like if it's positive. Um, to keep coming back, I mean, I just liked the feeling of being able to come back after like a really rough day, after a really rough match, and show that like I've bought in. Like back at home at Doughboy, they always say no quit. Like that's not an option. Like there's no quitting here. Finish it out and like make the most of it. Um, like Paul one time, he was my partner for live. And I think in like 3 minutes he scored like 100 points on me. And I look back in it now and it was really funny, but oh my, I wanted to walk out of there so bad. He was getting on my last nerve, and that was definitely a day I was able to build off of and be like, no, I want to improve. I want to get better. I don't want that to happen again. I need to not only like improve wrestling wise, but improve mentally to like push through that.
Yeah, that's well, and I think that's something too that for the rest of your life you're able to grow on, right? I mean, in the work life and home life, whatever it is, I mean, there's life doesn't stop on the hard moments. And so when you can push through those things and learn through those things, not only physically but mentally, like it's a game changer. And I think that's something like even as a coach, we continue to push through some of our kids, like mindset wise, like it's just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And like you said, build off of it. Like be intentional, be purposeful. Like don't just, I think so many people, like you talked a little bit about like the how the negative thoughts can get in. And before you know it, like you've just built this mountain that it's like if you're just like, hey, I'm gonna get better here today, and you can able to focus through that before then you almost get tunnel vision and all those things they don't matter at that time because you're literally just trying to focus on one thing. So no, that's really cool. And I've never even thought about the journal thing. And I'd be intrigued to see even like as a coach what that would look like, like if I just
Yeah.
put a mental note of, okay, what is my mindset coming in beforehand? What have I done to prepare myself as I step into the room today, kind of thing. And yeah, that would be awesome. I might have to look into that. That's
My
cool.
coach for Fargo got us into it. We all like rolled our eyes at first. We were like, really? Because we'd have to journal for like 30 minutes before practice and then 30 minutes after. And before practice, it was like, and you do out of 10. So like mentally out of 10, like, how are you doing? Physically out of 10, how are you doing? What did you do today that affected your mental, your physical? How do you think practice is going to go? Like, where's your mindset? Like, it's kind of like a moment to like gather your thoughts and like put together like, okay, I'm here now, like need to hone in on what I'm about to do for the next however long, because coach is only asking for like our practices, Paul's only asking for the best hour and a half, 2 hours of our day wrestling wise, so gonna if I only get that opportunity to wrestle for an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm gonna put everything into it. And then the 30 minutes after, we do mental and physical out of 10 and what we think contributed to that and what we can like take away from our day.
Well, and I think too, it allows you to kind of, like you said, slow down, but be like more intentional about, what I'm doing outside really affects everything. Like how, the sleep I'm getting, whether I let myself get stressed, any of that kind of stuff. And so, no, that's pretty cool. That's a powerful tool. And I think journaling in general is just pretty important. I don't do it very much, but
Yeah, it has like a weenie
always something
stigma behind it. Like, you'll get hit with like, you have a diary. Like, yeah, what about it? Fool.
yeah, my biggest thing is I'll do it and then I'll go back. I want to read it. I'm like, man, I can't even read my own handwriting. Like, dang it.
Yeah,
But
no, I
I
definitely, I
need,
definitely can't read my chicken scratch.
I need to just like, I should just type. That's what I should do for my journal. But no, that's cool. That's been awesome. What what has that like for the? What'd you say again? The medical engineering. What are you doing?
Biomedical engineering.
What? How hard has that been for you? Is that to be able to do that and to be able to do wrestling? Like,
It has been like one of the hardest balances, like that I've tried to find, because it's like I'm trying to have a social life, but I'm also wrestling, and I also need to go to the cadaver lab at night and stare at dead bodies for a couple hours to study. Um, it was definitely hard. I had a couple teammates, like I think one or two teammates freshman year who were in the biomedical engineering program. So it was like we'd all like practice and then we'd meet up at the lab and like study together and like kind of push each other along. But it's definitely a hard program. It's one you have to like really dedicate yourself to. A lot of memorization, a lot of late nights.
what does that mean though for you as a girl to find a school where you can do something that you love? Like you get to compete and not have to sacrifice on the education part of things. Like, I mean, that's really until pretty recent, right? I mean, within the last 4 or 5, there's a couple more that are popping up that are very, very good. As far as institutions, as far as colleges, and not that those other ones can't be a good provider for some, but for those that really want to be specific as yourself, like those just hadn't existed until recent. Like, how important and how cool has that been to experience that?
When I first saw the message from Indiana Tech on Instagram, I looked into the school and I remember it was like during COVID. I think it was in March that I got the message. During COVID, whole lockdown thing. So I'm sitting in my basement. We had just put a wrestling mat in there because I couldn't go out and like practice anymore. So I'm like laying there on the wrestling mat and I see the message. I look into the school and I remember just running up the stairs to my mom and I was just like, pardon my language here, but I was like, holy shit, I think I found it. I think I found it, or they found me. I don't even know. Like, they actually have engineering. They have a lot of it, like a whole lot of it. And my mom was like skeptical at first because Massachusetts, Indiana, but I was so excited. I didn't care how far it was. Like, I was so excited to see that there was something out there that really, like, tech has so many degree programs, but something out there for like women in STEM, because a lot of the schools, like, at the time that I was applying, it was like a lot of business, nursing, education programs, criminal justice. And like for myself, like that's not what I wanted. So I wasn't willing to sacrifice that. And it was just kind of like a continual like letdown because I'd have a great talk with some coaches and then we'd talk about like the programs. And there was one school that was like, oh, well, we can get you biomedical. It's just going to be like a 7-year program here. And I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why would I do 7 if I can find 4?
Yeah.
But it was really exciting to see that there was an opportunity out there for, I mean, not just myself, obviously, but so many other women that wanted to get into whatever degree program of engineering, but also like pursue their wrestling career.
What how would you describe your coach, Coach Paul? Like what, you know, I've had some interactions in his he's so authentic and
Yeah.
he's just fun to be around. But how would you describe him and what has it meant to have him in your corner, not only uh as a coach for wrestling, but also just, with school and in life?
Um, Paul, Paul's that like good type of crazy. Like he's down to earth, but he's also crazy. We'll have a great talk before practice, like coach to athlete, like feeling great. And then we run into the room and all of a sudden I'm being like flipped upside down and thrown across the room. Like I weigh like a 101 pounder. I mean, that makes me feel great, I guess. Not really when I hit the wall. But um Paul's a great coach. Like he he doesn't force us to want to be there. He lets us find our own way to buy in and trust the process. He doesn't force that on us. And I'd say like people buy in pretty quick here. And I think it shows with like what we do each season, like the damage we make, like all the battles we go through and like how we come out on top when we're the underdogs half the time. Like you can really tell that, like his athletes are really buying into it. And I I love having him in my corner. Um, can hear him pretty well during matches. He's got a pretty
Yeah.
loud bark at us. But afterwards, he's never that coach that like puts you down for how your match went. Like he will be real with you and tell you like whether it went well or whether like you could have done more, but he's never gonna beat you up for it. He's never gonna put you down. Um, he's really open, which is great, like to have a really good line of communication with. Um, just really easy to talk to and a really good support system like on and off the mat because he has some background with like anatomy and some medical courses. I think he did exercise science or something like that. So like freshman year and even last year, I'd go to him and like kind of bounce some stuff off of him. And at practice, sometimes it'd be like, oh, you want to grab around here, and he'll like grab part of the knee and look at some of us who are in anatomy and be like, what's right here? And be like, didn't expect this pop quiz, Paul.
Yeah, that's funny. Um,
Yeah.
so what is our this year? Are you at 190? Sorry, I transitioned really quick, but are you
Yeah.
at 190 this year?
No, I'm at 170.
170? For
Yeah.
some reason, I was thinking I saw that you had maybe you bumped up or something, but have you
I
wrestled?
think I went up to fill in, like bounce back and forth with another 170 for some
Okay.
duels for 191.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And what have been some highlights for you so far this year, like the wrestling, like either in the room or just, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be on the mat, or just like in some of your travels? Are there been some stories or anything that have stuck out for you?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's some like funny ones that are probably gonna stick out for a while. Wrestling wise, like going to Moval, Missouri Valley, that tournament. This is our second year going, and I just felt such a different feeling from like our team, like during warm up and everything. Like it felt like intentional, like so much more aggression. Like first year, I felt like we walked in there and we were all like, wow, oh my God, like scared, timid. Like we all went in there and got got our shit done. Like went in there, attacked, got what we needed. Um, and just had a lot of fun in Missouri Valley too. Like Missouri Valley has definitely stuck out. Like a lot of girls made a lot of moves there. That yeah, one of my teammates made like a mood board out of like deli meat. Like she cut little faces and like pieces of turkey.
That's funny.
She carried it around on a plate and asked people like, "What are you feeling right now?" Like that's something that's definitely stuck out to me. Um, getting Paul with like your mom jokes or like Joe Mama jokes, those stories stick out to me for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Um, everything that sticks out to me is like always the fun stuff with the team and like also like when my teammates, like especially like the freshmen, like hit some big moves or just like absolutely murder someone in a match. Like I just love watching it. I just love jumping them down and going crazy for them.
Yeah, Mo Valley for me was a lot of fun. Just getting to see different, schools that I've kind of gotten in contact with, getting to see them scrap, and but even just to see where the sport's going and where it's headed was a lot of fun. But like even the road trip I got to go down with Midland this year. And man, it was kind of funny because going back like this past weekend on the bus, we were with the boys and the girls were kind of loud a little bit. And the coach, our high school coach, was just like, man, that's like, and I told him, I was like, you have no idea. I was in a van full of like the girls with Midland on the way back, and it's like it was way louder and nonstop to the point like my whole like it's like I'm on a 5-hour bus ride. I'm gonna be able to read, like do some of my homework. Not
No,
van ride.
no,
Absolutely not. I was like, nope,
no.
I'm not bringing it. It's like I might as well embrace it. So no, it's a lot of fun. And even just to get to kind of just join in with that energy and to not only get to experience that side of the wrestling, but even just to get to have fun, to get to have those conversations. That it's just different with college as in high school, in high school you really, I mean, there's those conversations, but nothing like their maturity level is just different, right? With the
Yeah.
college and stuff like that. And
I just feel like I'm able to develop like such a good connection with like not just Paul, but like Sparks and Brown as well. Like we're all able, like everyone's able to be like very open with one another, whether it be coach to athlete or athlete to athlete, captain to athlete. Like it's very open, and I think that's what keeps like all of us like so happy around one another. Like we don't have to walk on eggshells. Like we're able to joke around each other. We're able to have fun, like keep the morale up.
yeah, definitely. And it's always fun to see, and it definitely shows like even Matt side and stuff like that. So that's cool. And that's always something I've appreciated so far about even with your guys' program. Um, before I was gonna close up, there's two questions I usually ask. What are some things like, let's just say, I mean, you probably don't get a lot of these, but school and wrestling aside, you have a couple days to do whatever you want. What are some of the things you like to spend your time with?
I like to hang out with my friends a lot, like go out with them, whether it be like going out around like just downtown Fort Wayne or whatever, run around with them. Um, man, I gotta think on this one. I don't get a lot of these days, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Um, I mean, back at home, I like to spend a lot of time, like I live really close to the beach, so I love to spend a lot of time at the beach, like on the water. Like I love to be out there, whether it be like the ocean or like a lake or river. Um, like to go out to eat with my friends,
Yeah,
definitely.
food's definitely, man. That's one of my favorite things about traveling, is like if we're going somewhere and I know I'm gonna have some time, it's like I usually look up like where's someone within 5 miles of our hotel or something like that that's gonna have something that I want to try, or I just love trying new things and stuff like that. So I definitely can relate to that. The beach thing, I wish, man, I'm a long ways from the being in Nebraska. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
I mean,
lot.
here I gotta find like little rivers and lakes. They make up for it, but miss that low tide stench.
Yeah, for real. Then another thing I was going to ask you, what would you tell yourself like now, like coming as a freshman, you're just starting wrestling. What would Kat now tell Kat as a freshman in high school and in college?
Oh my God. Hmm. There's so many things to tell myself. Then, um, to have more fun at the start of it, like in high school, like have more fun. This isn't life or death, you lose a match, get up, move on, learn from it. You know, don't need to hang your head, don't need to throw a fit, you know, you live and you learn, move forward, and to get out of my head and just go. Like for the longest time when wrestling, I'd reside in my head. I'd be like, no, I'm a defensive wrestler. No, I'd just like be like, maybe I can take this shot. No, no. What if I don't finish? Well, instead of like having those thoughts, just find out, just go, find out, scramble, have fun. This is to have fun. Like I know a lot of it's a very simple thing and a lot of people say it, but it's very serious. Like I take that seriously. Like have fun. Like you're doing something you love. You shouldn't dread going out onto that mat. You shouldn't dread lacing up your shoes. Like this is an opportunity. Go have fun. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And to cut weight sooner. Don't wait till last minute.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if I could go back and tell my high school self that, I would definitely give some healthy weight cutting tips. That is for sure.
Yeah.
College was a whole lot easier than, and well, and even now I can't even do what we used to do, the hydration stuff and that. But it's like, man, like there's way better ways to go about it. And I think I'd also tell myself, like, hammer the basics. That's actually what's gonna work. Gonna get you
Yeah,
to
yeah. I'm huge into the basics. Like I'm a blast double person. I'm a half Nelson. Like you're not gonna catch me being that funky. I got, you know,
yeah.
little head snap to a double. That's good for me. Good
Yeah,
enough.
that's
I don't
awesome.
need to be fancy.
No, it's been so cool to just get to hear about your journey, to get to hear how a girl from a vocational school in Massachusetts ends up in Indiana. And even just
Yeah, I didn't even know where Indiana was on the map, like I mean maybe that reflects on my like geography knowledge, but yeah, I I don't know how I got here, but you know what? I like it.
yeah, it's awesome. But even just getting to hear how you've been able to continue to buy in yourself and be proud of where you're coming from, and just those stories of people can look down and it's like, no, it's okay to just keep pushing forward and good things are going to happen. You just got to keep moving forward. So it's fun to hear. I love hearing these stories. Thank you so much for sharing. Look forward to continue to see how the season goes for you, and even just to continue to see the impact you have on the world at the next level. So thank you again for this, and good luck, and hopefully you stay healthy all year.
Thank you. This was really cool. Thank you for this opportunity.
You bet. I look forward to it. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.